Hey, what is up, spiritual hooligan? Everything that comes out of your mouth is a story. Now, there are facts, but those facts are just things that are provable. And most of the things that you and I talk about, most of the things that drive us crazy, make us mad, make us upset or frustrated, or even the things that make us happy and joyous and peaceful and loving, are not provable. They're dogmatic in nature, meaning they are oftentimes just something that some authority said, now you bought into it, and now all of a sudden you're being affected by it. So today we're going to continue our conversation about recontextualization. It's one of the four components of the rapid enlightenment process. My name is Matthew Ferry, and I am bringing you your daily enlightenment. It's your moment to pause, to slow down, and to get connected to enlightened perspectives. I want to help you to quiet your mind and restore your peace. Now, the way you restore your peace is by describing things in a way that frames it such that you recognize that all is well. I call this recontextualization. It's the skill of describing the conditions and the circumstances of your life in a way where you know that all is well, where you are empowered by the reality that you're living. And the reality that you're living doesn't have anything to do with the circumstances. It has to do with your relationship to the circumstances. The circumstances are just whatever they are. Then you have a relationship to that. The relationship is in your language, and the language you use determines the experience that you're having. Recontextualization. So the way I like to say it is, if you're going to make things up, you might as well make things up that feel good. You might as well make things up that empower you. Now, I use enlightened perspectives in my process, and the enlightened perspectives are perspectives that muscle test strong, meaning you can stick your arm out, you make the statement, and your arm holds strong. There's other statements that you make the statement, and no matter what you do, no matter how strong you are, no matter how much you believe in the statement, it makes you go weak. And what I've found over the years is that statements that strengthen you contain within them the presupposition that all is well. They have an enlightened framework. They are constructive. So today I want to talk to you about shifting your language around. And we're going to start off with this idea that there really is no right or wrong or good or bad. There really isn't any right or wrong, good or bad. Now, there are communities of people who have come up with best practices that enable more harmonious collaboration and living together, and we say that thing is right and that thing is wrong, but it's not really right and really wrong. It's just agreement. It's what we agree upon. And as a spiritual hooligan, you're not breaking the rules just to break the rules. You're breaking the rules because you don't want to be confined by what is illogical. You're not breaking the rules and then making your life harder because you are now disrupting people and breaking rules that everybody is agreeing to. Instead, you're breaking rules that are in the realm of happiness and peace and joy and love and certainty and confidence. And most of the rules that you follow about culture and how to live and how to operate and who to be and what's important, most of those rules actually degrade you. They come from a survival state. So there is no wrong, bad, good, right. All of that is conjecture, which doesn't mean that you act in a destructive fashion, okay? What there is, though, is there is strong and there is weak. And that's an interesting check that you can do. Does this strengthen me? Does it weaken me? And I'll say it in this way, is it constructive or is it destructive? Here's some best practices that I want you to start thinking about, or maybe not best practices, but just some ideas to kind of get your head around it. If you don't feel good, then you're not really presenting yourself with a set of language or context that is creating an empowering feeling. If you don't feel good, that's a signal. That's a signal of weakness. Your body is giving you a feedback that however you are framing it, however you're thinking about it, whatever context you're holding is actually degrading you. If you're speaking what your mind is thinking, then it's likely that you are speaking a lie like you're telling the truth. Because if you are speaking what your mind is speaking, you're essentially speaking interpretations. And we speak interpretations like they're true, and unfortunately, that actually degrades us and degrades our reality. If you say the fact is, it's not actually true. Most of the time, what you're doing is you're using a set of language patterns that gives certainty to something that's conjecture. It's really much more strengthening for you to say, my interpretation is. So when you say the fact is, that typically is going to make you go weak. You will become debilitated physically by it. And if you say my interpretation is, typically whatever you say after that will actually make you strong by contextualizing it as your interpretation. So interpretation is automatic. It's automatic until you learn to contextualize. Then what can happen is you can, instead of unconsciously interpret through your filters, you consciously reinterpret through what you're committed to, what you want, where you're going. So here's what I have for you today. I have this question. What are you focused on lately that is debilitating you? How are you speaking about it? And can you begin to change the context to know that all is well? Can you shift your language so that you understand or you see the situation as this is just my interpretation and I get to choose whatever interpretation I want? Leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Will you also like this video, or could you share it with the people in your world? It'd be great if you did all three. Like it, share it, leave me a comment. Plus, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out a new Daily Enlightenment every single day. And you can also check us out in the Spiritual Hooligans Facebook group. My name is Matthew Ferry, author of Quiet Mind, Epic Life. Thank you so much for tuning into this Daily Enlightenment.